Welcome back. All right, so 10 games tonight in the National Hockey League, 2 5-game boards. Let's just go ahead and jump right in, shall we? We start with Winnipeg and Boston. So it's Hellebuck versus Korpisalo. We get a power play for Winnipeg. And at 2:55, Nemesnikov roofs one from the side of the net to give Winnipeg the lead. Niederreiter and Perfetti with the assists. 5 minutes in, the shots are 6-2 for Winnipeg. So Boston kind of overwhelmed early in this one. Jets score, but that one was offside, so no goal there. Bruins press at 8.5 minutes. Then the Jets get some pressure, and at 11:31, Scheifele tips in a point shot. Pionk and Sandberg with the assists. It's 2-0 in favor of the Jets. Jets look to add another, but we get a power play for Boston, and they score on it. At 15:34, Marchand roofs one past a screen. Lindholm and Pasternak with the assists. It's a 2-1 lead for Winnipeg. The Bruins press with 3 minutes left, but it stays 2-1 Winnipeg after one. Second period, things are pushed and a hold by Hellebuck. The Bruins press at 1.5. The shots are 3 apiece at 4 minutes. The Bruins press at 6 minutes. Zadorov has a shot that's blocked out. The Jets draw a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by Winnipeg with 8 minutes left. The shots are 7-6 for the Jets with 5.5 minutes left. Marchand has a net drive chance that's blocked with 3:30 left. The Bruins get a power play. That's killed off. The Jets press in the final minute. Things get pushed in a hole by Korpisalo, and with 3 seconds left, the Jets get a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. The score's still 2-1 for the Jets. And then everything goes crazy in the third. At 11 seconds, Elias Lindholm scores shorthanded from Zacha. So there you go. It's a tie game for that long. 35 seconds on a rush and a nice deke and close. Scheifele scores to get the lead back on the power play. Ehlers and Morrissey with the assists. Then at 1:17, Ehlers scores to make it 4-2. So here we go. And then at 5:57, Ford, his first game. When did he get called up? Anyways, Iafallo and Stanley with the assists. I see Ford scored, and I'm like, Ford? So yeah, it's 5-2, and good on the kid. He gets in there and gets his first NHL goal. Jets press at the half. We get a power play for Winnipeg. That's scaled off. The Bruins pull the goalie early because they're down by 3. They get a power play with 1:29 seconds left, so it's 6-on-4. And Kyle Connor hits the empty net for the shorthanded goal as well. Nemesnikov with the assist at 19:23. The Jets win big time. 6-2 win in Boston. They go to 36-14-3 with the win. With the loss, Boston 25-22-6 on the season. Shots on net, 11-9 Winnipeg in the first. 11-10 Boston in the second. 9-6 Boston in the third. Final shots 29-27 for the Bruins. And with this result tonight, the Bruins have dropped below the playoff line again. Power plays, 2 for 4 for Winnipeg, 1 for 3 for Boston. The hits, 25-13 for the Bruins. Hellebuck saves 27 out of 29. Another solid start. Korpisalo, 21 saves on 26 shots. All right, next up, Minnesota and Montreal. So Marc-Andre Fleury against Dobeš. And this is, of course, the last start that Marc-Andre Fleury will have in Montreal. Early press by the Habs. The Wild press at 3 minutes. The shots are 2-0 Minnesota, 4.5 minutes in. Middleton breaks up a 2-on-1. The Wild press with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for Minnesota. That is killed off. The Habs press in the final minute, but this was a very quiet first period. Very fast first period. This game was about 20 minutes faster than everything else that started at the same time. Second period, the Habs press at 1.5 minutes, but at 3 minutes and 41 seconds, Ogren scores from Gaudreau. He goes far corner from in close to make it 1-0. The Habs press to respond. There's more pressure by them at 5.5 minutes. And then on a fast break at 5:47, Marco Rossi makes it 2-0. Foligno and Hartman with the assists. The shots are 5-4 for Minnesota at 8 minutes. The Habs get some pressure at the half. Slavkovsky has a net feed that's picked off. There's more Habs pressure in the final minute. And again, easily the fastest of the early games. And the Wild, coming into this one, were 19-0-0 if they lead after 2 periods. So it's 2-0 Minnesota going into the third. The Habs press 2 minutes into the third. The Wild get pinned down, but they block the net pretty well. Carrier tries to jam one in coming out from behind the net. The shots are 3-1 Montreal at 5 minutes. Rossi has a rush chance that's blocked. And then at 5:56 on a turnover, Shore scores his first of the season from Rossi. So Rossi gets the second point of the game. It's 3-0 Minnesota. The ref is told that he sucks from a play that took place before that goal went in the net. Montreal fans wanted a call they did not get. Eriksson Ek is then robbed by the glove of Dobeš. And then Boldy has a slot shot that was gloved down too. So Dobeš prevented this from getting worse. Power play for the Habs, that's killed off, and everyone loves Marc-Andre Fleury. They had a nice standing ovation for him. Well, Fleury seemed to just want the game to get going again, and I get it, because you don't want to be all emotional in the net. You want that to be safe for after. The Wild press with 7.5 minutes left. The Habs press with 4.5 minutes left with the goalie pulled. Boley has an empty net chance that's blocked, but Freddie Gaudreau hits the empty net at 18:23. Trennan and Spurgeon with the assists. This was the 76th career shutout for Marc-Andre Fleury. It's a 4-0 win for Minnesota. They go to 31-17-4. For Montreal, the wheels have fallen off. They are 24-22-5. They've lost 3 in a row now. Shots on net, 8-3 Minnesota in the first, 8-5 Minnesota in the second, 11 apiece in the third. Final shots, 27-19 for Minnesota. Both teams went 0 for 1 on the power play. The hits, 21-18 Minnesota. Fleury saves all 19 shots for the shutout. Dobesh saved 23 out of 26 at the other end. All right, next up, Washington and Ottawa. So it's Lindgren versus Forsberg. The Caps press at 1.5 minutes. We get a power play for Ottawa. That becomes 20 seconds of 5-on-3. Tkachuk's denied during that. Everything gets killed off. The shots are 6-2 for Ottawa at 6 minutes. The teams trade rushes. Caps press at the half. The Sens get some pressure with 6 minutes left. Carlson has a wrister that's caught and held. It's scoreless after 1. Second period. Early Caps power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Gregg. Ottawa does kill that off. Caps press at 3 minutes. Then there's an offensive zone penalty by Taylor Radish. And Ottawa scores during the resulting power play. It's Gregg. It's a cross-crease pass and buried. Perron with his first point as a Senator. And Chabot with the other assist at 4:08. Then we get a power play for the Caps. And just after it ends, they score. McMichael roofs one. Dubois and Roy with the assists at 7:43. So it's a 1-1 tie. Sens press at the half. Things get pushy on a hole by Lindgren. Hamonic has a shot that deflects high. Caps press with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for Washington. That's killed off. The Senators score. There's a goalie interference challenge, and sure enough, that comes off the board. Lindgren poke checks Amadio in close to the net. And then we get a penalty shot for Norris. And sure enough, a shorthanded penalty shot goal ends up being scored by Norris at 17:36. This is the 6th shorthanded goal of the season for the Sens. And to celebrate, they get another one. Pinto at 18:15 scores shorthanded from Norris and Sanderson. He just buries the rebound. So even though they were down a man, they're up 2 goals at that point. It's 3-1, and the Senators finish the kill. They get some pressure before the period's done. Yeah, they're up 3-1 going into the third. In the third period, Giroux's denied on a 3-on-2 chance. The Caps press at 3 minutes. The shots are only 1 apiece at 4.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Sens. That's killed off, and then Caps get a turn and they score on it. It's Strome from Carlson and Ovechkin at 7:58. Sens press at 9 minutes. We end up getting a power play for Ottawa, and they score on it. It is Sanderson from Giroux and Stützle at 10:38, but then the Caps, they get a turn as well, and it is Ovechkin getting the goal from Protas and McMichael at 13:01. He's 19 goals away from having the record book to himself when it comes to goals. It's going to be close. I still think early next season he gets to the record. However, at 14:31, Strome scores to tie the game from Ovechkin and Wilson. He roofs this one in close. Travis Green calls a timeout to talk it over. At the very least, it gets this game to overtime. The Senators stop the bleeding there. The Sens control early in the overtime. Ovechkin has a chance that's held. And then at 1:46, Chabot's just left all alone, so he has lots of time, and he buries it. Pinto and Norris with the assists. Ottawa wins this one 5-4 in overtime. They go to 27-20-4 with the win. With the overtime loss, Washington 34-11-6 on the year. Shots on net, 11-7 Ottawa in the first, 14-13 Ottawa in the second, 13-7 Washington in the third. Both teams had 2 shots in the overtime. Ottawa's the shot that matters. Final shots 35-34 for Washington. Power plays 2 for 6 for the Capitals, 2 for 5 for Ottawa. The hits 20-19 for Washington. Lindgren 29 saves on 34 shots, and Forsberg 31 saves on 35 shots. But a very good game. All right, next up, LA and Tampa. So it's Riddick versus Vasilevsky. Chernak fires one wide as the Bolts get some pressure. Geeky's then denied on a 2-on-1 rush. The shots are 2-0 Tampa at 3 minutes. And at 4:45, Hagel scores from Gonsalves and Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky with the assist there. It's 1-0 Tampa. Bolts press for another. We get some more pressure by Tampa Bay halfway through the period. The Kings press, but they're kept to the outside. Mulverare has a slapper that's saved. Gavrikov couldn't bury one in close, and then Hagel nearly adds another, but it's 1-0 Tampa after one. Second period, there's a kick save on Gensel. The teams trade rushes. The Kings press at 5 minutes. There's a power play for Tampa. The Kings would score, but was it offside? Yeah. So Tampa doesn't score on the power play. Kings get a goal. It comes back due to offside. It stays 1-0. The shots are 10-4 for Tampa at 7.5 minutes. Things get pushy on a hold by Riddick. The Kings press at the half. Points denied on a rush opportunity. The Bolts press with 8.5 minutes left. The Kings answer by pressuring themselves with 7.5 minutes left. We get a power play for Tampa. There was a shorthanded chance for Foegele. That saved. That power play's killed off. Paul gets robbed. Riddick holds there. It stays 1-0 Tampa after 2. Third period, Kings press at 4 minutes. Edmondson has a shot that's held. The shots were 6-3 for the Kings at the half. Kempe has a rush chance this block. The Bolts press with 6.5 minutes left. Chernak has a nice hit on Laferriere that draws cheers from the crowd. Shots are 9-4 for LA with 4.5 minutes left, but at 15:39, Hagel buries a rebound on the rush. Kucherov with the assist there. It's 2-0 in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. With 2:57 left, the Kings get a power play, so they have to pull the goalie, and Cirelli gets the shorthanded empty net goal at 18:43. Hagel with the assist. It is a 3-0 lead for Tampa. Bolts then finish the kill, and that is the 37th career shutout for Andrei Vasilevsky. So the Tony the Tiger Magnet makes its second appearance on this board after the one there for Minnesota, but also right down here, the Chess Magnet, because this was a game with 3 goals or less. So that's where the Chess Magnet gets onto the board. 26-17-6 is the record for the Kings as they continue their slide. The Tampa Bay Lightning stopped their slide. They're now 27-20-3. Shots on net, 11-8 Tampa in the first, 15-9 Tampa in the second, 11-7 LA in the third. Final shots are 33-28 for Tampa. Power plays, LA 0 for 1, Tampa Bay 0 for 2. The hits, 29-18 for the Kings. Riddick saves 30 out of 32. He was very good, but Vasilevsky didn't allow anything. 28 saves on 28 shots. Just doing Vasilevsky-like things. All right, next up. Chicago and Carolina. So Chicago showing that, hey, you got to take them serious. Soderblom versus Kochetkov. There were no shots on net 3 minutes into this. The Canes press at 5 minutes. The Hawks get some pressure at 8 minutes. Not that they're able to get to the net. Jarvis has a rush chance that's saved. Bedard has a shot that's blocked out. Both teams are blocking the path to the net pretty well. The shots are 4-0 Carolina with 7 minutes left. We get a power play for Chicago, and that leads to Jarvis getting a shorthanded goal on a rush. Yasko with the assist at 16:57, so it's 1-0 Carolina. And then the Canes finish the kill. However, at 18:38, Mikheyev scores to tie the game on a fast break. Foligno and Dickinson with the assists, so it's a 1-1 tie. Canes press to respond, but it stays 1-1 after the first. Second period at 4:52, Rantanen goes 5-hole on a rush. His first goal as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. Roslovic and Orlov with the assists there. So Roslovic, the guy who gave him 96, Roslovic now wearing 98, and so he assists on Rantanen's first goal. Kind of nice. The Hawks look to respond, but at 5:59, Jacob Slavin makes it a 3-1 lead. He scores from Blake and Yaska. So Yaska with a couple of helpers in this one. Shots are 6-2 Carolina at 6.5 minutes. Canes press at 7 minutes. We get a power play for Chicago. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Yaska, which helps to kill that penalty off. Then there's a kick save on Sean Walker. The Canes press with 2 minutes left. They're up 3-1 after 2. Third period, Crevier has a rush chance that's saved. The Hawks press at 2.5 minutes. Canes get some pressure at 6 minutes. And at 6:29, on a breakaway, Bedard goes 5-hole. Nice goal by Bedard. And Seth Jones with the assist makes it a 3-2 game. Tightens things up a little bit. Canes press with 7 minutes left with 4:25 left. The Canes get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Slaggert, which is saved. That power play is killed off. Goalie pull happens with 2 minutes left. With 39.5 seconds left, the Canes get a power play. That becomes 4-on-4, so we end the game 4-on-4. The Canes hold on. They win this one 3-2. They go to 32-16-4 with the win. With the loss, Chicago 16-30-5 on the year. Shots on net, 7-3 Carolina in the first. Both teams had 11 shots in the second. Shots 9-6 in the third for Carolina. Final shots 27-20 for the Canes. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits 18-15 for Chicago. Soderblom, 24 saves on 27 shots. Kochetkov, 18 saves on 20 shots. Time for board number 2. All right, 5 more game boards, and we've got another chess magnet here. We had 2 chess matches on the first board. Well, no, we had 1 chess match on the first board. We've got 2 chess matches on this board. And so I just like that I've got all these specialty magnets now, because sure, why not? I feel like these can be kind of repetitive, so having the specialty magnets, it makes it fun for me. I don't know how it works for you guys. So Islanders in Philadelphia. Let's resume things. Sorokin versus Fedotov in this one. The Flyers press at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 4 apiece at 3.5 minutes. That's not very Islanders or Flyers-like, really. A wide open game like that, that's not good. Siplikov has a fight with Lawton. Lawton, I'll say, won that one. Flyers press at 8.5 minutes. The Islanders press at the half. The shots are 8-5 for New York with 8.5 minutes left. Cates has a wraparound chance that's blocked. The Flyers draw a power play. It's 4 minutes. Philly does score, but there's a goalie interference challenge, and yep, that comes off the board. The Islanders then finish killing the 4-minute power play. Cates couldn't bury one in close. It's scoreless after the first. Second period, there's a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. The shots are 3-0 for New York at 5 minutes. D'Angelo has a wrister that's held. Couturier has a 2-on-1 chance that's saved. Cizikas then fires one wide on a rush. Konechny has a slot shot that's blocked. And at 10:02, Holmstrom goes barring in from the slot. Perunovic and Pajot with the assists. Perunovic is just doing well. I'm going to say this too. Guys who've been traded this year have really done quite well on new teams. So I think that's great. I wish there was more liberal movement of players in the National Hockey League. Things are pushed in a hole by Sorokin. There's a stick save on Cates in close. I get it. It's the salary cap and everything. It's not that easy, but it definitely, I think there's a lot of players that could benefit from a trade. There might be a video in there. You're absolutely right. There's a blocker save on a slap shot by Sealer. The Flyers press with 7 minutes left. We get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. No shots on net. Their power play has not been great. But at 17:08, on a cross-ice pass, Gatcombe buries one. It's his first National Hockey League goal. McLean and Siplikov with the assists. It makes it 2-0 for the Islanders. Ristolainen has a one-timer. That's held. Lee has a net feed that's picked off. It's 2-0 Islanders after 2. However, before the third period, we were hearing all the rumblings about the trade. And I wondered how that was going to affect the Flyers and the Flames in the game that we'll talk about after this one. I don't know that it necessarily affected the Flyers in that third period, knowing this big trade was happening, but it sure seemed to. That, like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the Islanders, but it has to be distracting knowing that guys that you've played with for a while are gone. Third period, the Islanders press at 1.5 minutes. Shots are 4-1 for New York at 3.5 minutes. The Flyers press at 5.5 minutes. Islanders are blocking the path to the net. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 at 9:53. Palmieri scores. It's his first in 15 games. He goes far corner on a net drive. Cizikas and Pelech with the assists. It's 3-0 for the Islanders. The Islanders press with 8 minutes left. We get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. The Islanders press with 4.5 minutes left. And this is where they were talking too about Michkov. After being out of position on the Holmstrom goal, he was benched the rest of the game. So adding Kuzmenko, the idea is going to be to hopefully get Michkov playing a little bit better. So the Bluebirds were out at the horn. That's 6 wins in a row for the Islanders. They are rolling, and that's the 19th career shutout for Sorokin. So the Tony the Tiger magnet's on the board for that, and there's a chess match magnet down here. I told you guys I had a lot. So it's a 3-0 win. The Islanders go to 23-20-7. They're back in the hunt. Philadelphia is not. They're 23-24-6 with the loss. Shots on net, 10-8 Islanders in the first, 12-8 Philadelphia in the second. 10-3 for the Islanders in the third. Final shots 28-23 for the Islanders. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 2, Philadelphia 0 for 3. The hits 20-18 for Philly. Sorokin saves all 23 shots for that 19th career shutout. Fedotov saves 25 out of 28 the other end. I think Fedotov was fine. He just didn't get any goal support. All right, so moving on. Anaheim and the Flames. So it's Gibson versus Wolf. Early power play for the Ducks. That's killed off. Shots are 3-0 Anaheim at 3.5 minutes. The Flames press are kept to the outside. We get a power play for Calgary, and Anaheim scores on it. At 11:54, Vetrano scores from Lacombe. So that's the 15th of the season for Vetrano. Makes it 1-0 for the Anaheim Ducks. Then a Carlson rush is gloved aside. The Ducks press with 5 minutes left. They had a really strong first period. They lead 1-0 after the first. Second period, 15 seconds in. Klapka dekes around Gibson and scores. Pospisil and Bean with the assists. So nice move by Klapka. I don't know I didn't know he could do that. So the Ducks look to respond. Shots are 2-1 for the Flames at 4 minutes. There's a kick save on Rasmus Anderson. Flames are building some momentum now with the game tied. Harkins to Leeson. There's a near miss there. Uyghur has a rush chance that save. Klapka then has a rush chance that's held. Ducks press with 9 minutes left. We had a fight between Trouba and Kadri. They do have a bit of a history. The Ducks come out of that with the power play, so the referee is informed that he sucks, but so does the power play, so that's killed off. The Ducks go back to the power play. That's killed off as well. The Flames clear out after that's done. 2 shots on net for Anaheim there. Lomberg fires one wide on a rush, and at 19:16 on a turnover, Coronado buries one from the slot to make it 2-1 for Calgary. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 with 25 seconds left, and it's 2-1 for Calgary after 2. So the trade in between the second and third's talked about a lot. There's no way the Flames don't know that this trade is basically done, right? The trade call hadn't gone in yet, but it's basically done. So the question becomes, are the Flames going to be focused in the third period? The answer is, yeah, pretty much. There's early press by Anaheim. The Flames then press at 2 minutes. Coleman has a tip shot. That's held. Huberdeau to Pospisil, near miss there. Shots are 3 apiece at 5 minutes. Strome has a slot shot. That's held. Gudas and Coronado got kind of unfriendly. I think Gudas wanted to drop the gloves, but Coronado was probably like, no. Pospisil's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. And then at 16:10, Coronado scores from Coleman. Basically, Gibson, oops, is the only way to describe oops. And Coronado buries the oopsie play. Ducks call a timeout with 3:31 left. They also pulled the goaltender. Lacombe has a screenshot that's saved. And then at 17:37, Coronado hits the empty net. So send the hats onto the ice. Hanley with the assist on that one. Calgary wins 4-1. Impressive result. They go to 25-18-7. They jump back past Vancouver into a playoff spot. Anaheim 21-24-6 with the loss. Shots on net. Anaheim 10-8 in the first, 12-7 Calgary in the second, 14-10 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 31-30 for Anaheim. Power plays Anaheim 0 for 4, Calgary 0 for 1. The hits 25-20 for Calgary. Gibson 26 saves on 29 shots. Wolf had a great game, 30 saves on 31 shots. All right, next up, Detroit and Edmonton. This was a tale of 2 games. So it's Lyon versus Skinner. Early forecheck by the Oilers. There's a near miss for Connor Brown and close. The Oilers press at 2 minutes. The shots were 2-1 for the Wings at 5 minutes. But then we get a power play for the Oilers, and they score on it. At 6:49, Draisaitl scores from Bouchard and McDavid. The Oilers look for another. They would find it. Basically, Lyon fails to hold this puck, and Skinner puts it into the net. Hyman and Henrique with the assists at 10:29, making it 2-0 for the Oilers. The Oilers go back to the power play. It's killed off, but 6 shots for the Oilers on that power play. They dominated that first period. And the Oilers press in the final minute. So it's 2-0 after the first. Could have been worse than that. And it feels like the Oilers are just rolling. So second period, things get pushy and a hold by Skinner. McDavid has a backhander that's saved. The Wings press at 1.5. We get another power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. 6.5 minutes into the period, the shots are 6-1 for the Oilers. So absolute dominance by the Oilers to that point. It was 21-8 were the shots at that stage in the game. The Wings press are kept to the outside, but at 9:57, Rasmussen tips in screen shot. The assist to Berggren and Soderblom there. So Soderblom with an assist. Raymond then's denied on a fast break as Detroit suddenly starts playing their game. And at 11:47, Larkin buries one on a net drive to tie the game. Casper with the assist. So even though Detroit had been dominated for basically almost the entire first half of the game, they tie the game early in the second half of the game. Teams trade rushes. We get a power play for Detroit. That's killed off. Then we had a post for Draisaitl during some pressure for the Oilers. The Oilers press with 2.5 minutes left, but it's 2-2 after 2. Third period. There's an octopus on the ice early in the period. Okay. Larkin fires one high in a rush. We get a power play for Edmonton. There's a shorthanded rush by Raymond that ends it. There were 2 shots for Edmonton on the power play. Shots are 6-2 for the Oilers at 5 minutes. Perry has a net feed that's picked off. We get a power play for Detroit. There's a one-timer by Casper that's held. That power play is killed off. The Oilers press with 7 minutes left. And I'm just going to, again, just throw my admiration towards the DJ in Edmonton for playing the stage by Avenged Sevenfold, which reminds me of the video. One of the best videos I've ever watched. The Wings press with 6 minutes left. The Oilers press with 3 minutes left, but it stays 2-2. We're going to overtime. The overtime, the Wings controlled early. Sherratt turns it over. Draisaitl's denied on a 3-on-1. The Wings get a power play. That was killed off. McDavid then has a slot shot that's held. Lots of chances in overtime, but we're going to the shootout. In the shootout, Detroit doesn't miss. Raymond and Larkin both scored. Detroit wins this one in a shootout in Edmonton. They go to 25-21-5 with a 3-2 victory. The Oilers drop to 32-15-4 on the season. Shots on net, 15-7 Edmonton in the first, 13 apiece in the second, 14-9 Edmonton in the third. Both teams had 5 shots in the overtime. Final shots, 47-35 for Edmonton. Power plays, Detroit 0 for 3, Edmonton 1 for 4. The hits, 23-14 for Edmonton. Lyon saves 45 out of 47. Great night for him. Skinner was excellent as well, 32 saves on 34 shots. That just makes for a fun game. All right, next up, Columbus and Vegas. So Merzlikins versus Samsonov in this one. Early press by Columbus. There's a crossbar for Stone during a little bit of pressure for Vegas. They get that pressure at 3.5 minutes. And at 4:58, Hurdle goes short side from the left circle. Dorofeev and Haig with the assists. It's 1-0 Vegas. Vegas then gets a power play. So it looks like this game could get ugly. But that's killed off by Columbus. The shots are 4-3 Vegas at the half, as this is where Columbus starts kind of strangling off the middle of the ice there to make sure there aren't those great rush chances and net drives by Vegas. Fabro fires one wide as Columbus presses. Sillinger has a chance that's blocked out. We get a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. And then at 18:34, Fantilli puts one in off Haig's skate. So fortunate, sure, but they all count, so it's 1-1. Columbus then presses for the lead. So kind of a quiet crowd as it's 1-1 after one. Kind of a surprising result so far. Second period. Fantilli has an early chance that's held. Columbus presses at 2.5 minutes. The shots are low. Only one shot apiece at 4 minutes. Vegas presses at 6.5 minutes. Columbus gets some pressure at 7.5 minutes. Theodore has a one-timer that's caught and held. Shots are 4-3 for Columbus with 9 minutes left. Sillinger to Aston Reese. That chance gets blocked. Columbus presses with 6.5 minutes left. Danforth has a wrister that's kicked aside. Eichel scores, but it's waved off for goalie interference. There was no challenge for that. I don't think challenging it would have changed the result. And it was a pretty good defensive period by both teams. So we go to the third period. Vegas presses at 1.5 minutes. Whitecloud has a point shot that's held. The shots are 2 apiece at 5 minutes. Columbus presses at 6 minutes. Barbashev then has a rush chance that's saved. Vegas presses at 9 minutes. Teams trade turnovers. Voronkov has a tip shot that's held. Putia has a net drive chance that's held. McNabb has a screenshot that's held as well. Both goaltenders not giving up rebounds in the third. Vegas presses with 3.5 minutes left. I kept waiting for this big Vegas push that didn't really quite happen. So good defense by Columbus. Then we go to overtime. Vegas controlled early, but then they exchanged turnovers, and at 52 seconds, Sillinger buries a rebound on what had been a breakaway for Kent Johnson. I think it was Kent Johnson that was on the break. Was it Werenski? Either way, it's a rebound buried by Sillinger, Werenski, and Kent Johnson with the assists. It's a 2-1 steal for Columbus. They go to 25-19-7. They pass Boston in the standings with this result. With the overtime loss, Vegas 31-15-6. And so, yeah, the Oilers and Vegas right there with one another both get a point tonight. Shots on net, 12-8 Vegas in the first, 7-6 Vegas in the second, 7 apiece in the third. In the overtime, Columbus had all 3 shots, including the one that matters. Final shots, 26-24 for Vegas. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play. The hits, 18-10 for Columbus in this one. Merzlikins saves 25 out of 26. He was very good. Samsonov was good too, 22 saves on 24 shots. So 2 goaltenders with save percentages that went up tonight. All right, last game. San Jose and Seattle. So this game started a little bit later too, and it was the ESPN doubleheader. It's Askarov versus Decord. And 3 minutes and 55 seconds in, Chandler Stevenson scored. He had a big night tonight. He scores from Bjorkstrand and Tolvanen. The Kraken look for another. The shots are 5-4 for Seattle at 6.5 minutes. Kovalenko has a net drive that's blocked. The Kraken press at 9 minutes. Teams trade turnovers. Sharks press with 4 minutes left. Some momentum late for San Jose, and they would score. At 17:55, Grunstrom has one that just deflects over Decord's shoulder into the net. Smith and Granlund with the assist. So Granlund was considered a game-time decision, not feeling well. He did play tonight. It's a 1-1 tie after 1. Second period, at 2:03, Bjorkstrand buries a rebound and close. Stevenson and Dunn with the assists. It's 2-1 for Seattle. And then at 2:54, on a failed clear, Montour goes bar down right with the assist there. It's 3-1 in favor of Seattle. We get a power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. And then Schwartz out of the box. He gets a breakaway. And at 5:58, he scores from Jamie Alexiak. So all of a sudden, it's 4-1 in favor of Seattle. That puts Georgiev into the net. That ended the night for Askarov. Both goaltenders in San Jose have watched as their stats just have not been great over the last little while here. All the punching breaks out at 6:39. Seattle emerges from all the punching with a power play, because sure, why not? And then we get 1:13 of 5:03. So, whoops. They do call a timeout before starting the 5-on-3, and they score on it. Montour, it's a one-timer far corner. That's the second goal of the game. McCann and Stevenson with the assists at 7:51. Chandler Stevenson all over the score sheet tonight. It is 5-1 in favor of Seattle. Sharks kill off the 5-on-4. Shots are 7-5 for Seattle with 7.5 minutes left, meaning they'd scored on 4 of their 7 shots. There were 11 shots in a row for the Kraken before San Jose finally got some pressure in the final minute. But yeah, it's 5-1 after 2. Third period. Lone shot on net was for San Jose at 3 minutes. The teams trade rush chances. Beniers has a one-timer that saved. Kraken press at 5 minutes. Schwartz fires one high on a turnover. And then at 8:06, Toffoli just outweights Decord. Decord goes down, and he buries it over top of him. Celebrini and Thrun with the assists. So Celebrini with a helper tonight makes it 5-2. Sharks press for another. Maybe a little bit of doubt there if you were a Seattle fan, because San Jose can score goals. They've shown that this year. Not all the time, but in certain games they've been able to. Eklund has a net drive chance that's saved. Wallman fires one wide on a rush. And then at 12:18, Tolvanen puts one past Georgiev from the slot. He had time to set that up and pick a spot, too. Mahura with the assist. It is 6-2 with 4:55 left. The Sharks get a power play. That's killed off. Seattle wins this one 6-2. They go to 23-27-3 with a much-needed victory. San Jose 15-33-6 on the year. Shots on net, 11-8 San Jose in the first, 17-9 Seattle in the second, 8-7 San Jose in the third. Final shots are 32-28 for Seattle. Power plays, San Jose 0-2, Seattle 1-2. Both teams had 23 hits in this game. Askarov, 7 saves on 11 shots. Georgiev, 19 saves on 21 shots. So he was all right in relief. Decord, another good night for Decord. He's a very good starter. 26 saves on 28 shots. And so, yeah, Seattle gets the win. There you go. You're all caught up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, as always. I will talk to you again soon.